Okay, so let's sit up comfortably. Hey, check out your body, especially if you've been watching a presidential debate with a lot of noise going on. You know, that can kind of impact the physical system. Anytime we're exposed to something kind of crazy and chaotic. So just subtly from the inside feel, how's the old physical body doing? Where does it want to stretch or twist or just maybe do a sort of a cleansing breath. Okay, let's do one of those. You start with your hands down to your near your belly button, and just do a the feeling of just cleaning away all that noise, all that. Let's do a couple of those. And one more. Take a deep breath for this one. Okay, all better. Let's close the eyes. Let's open the eyes. Let's close the eyes again. And let's open the eyes. And again, let's close the eyes. You may notice that when we close the eyes, there's some tendency for the body, the mind, the nervous system, the emotions to settle down a little. Even for a few seconds, then we open the eyes, and you may have noticed, gee, I don't want to open my eyes. It's because settling is already taking place without your participation. So there's nothing we have to do to try to make settling down take place. We just show up. We sit up comfortably and be there. Be here. Right here wherever we are. Whatever awareness presents itself. Oh yeah, this awareness. This same one that's always here. No matter how crazy or incoherent or calm and coherent the situation is that we're experiencing, this experiencer, this awareness, this I, is always right here. So just rest as the I. Just rest as you are. Nothing to do, nothing to figure out. If you came into the session a few minutes late, you might have the feeling, oh gee, I have to catch up. But no, you don't. I got to hurry up and relax to catch up with the others. But you don't. Wherever you are is always I. Is always this presence. Never anything to catch up to. Never anything to remember. Never anything to get right. We're already here. We're always already here. The thought that we have to catch up, the thought that we have to do anything, the thought that we want to settle down, the thought that we want to meditate, those are all what's known as thoughts. They're just like the thought about, what has to go on my grocery list. So we don't buy into any of those thoughts. The thoughts about wanting to meditate or wanting to catch up, that's just some blip coming and going within this awareness where we already are, this beingness, this I, this silence, which we always already are. So nothing ever to do but relax back into this silence within which you're having the thought, maybe you're having the thought, how am I going to get silent? But that thought is happening in the silence. If you were not this silent awareness, you couldn't have the thought. It's like a little wave of thought saying, how am I going to find the ocean? Right here. Just relax into it right here. Thoughts come and go. Feelings come and go. Sounds and sensations come and go. Like little waves and currents coming and going in the ocean. And that's perfect. They're supposed to be there. They are supposed to be there. You can't have an ocean without waves. But you can't have waves without ocean. The fact that there's thoughts and feelings means there's this silent awareness, this ocean of silent beingness within which they come and go. So just rest in that ocean. Rest as that ocean. Let the waves come and go as they come and go. They're none of our concern. Every wave or current of thought or feeling or sensation arises all by itself. We can notice that. You didn't put any work into making a sound arise or a thought arise. We wouldn't even know how to do that. And in exactly the same way, every wave or current of thought or feeling or sensation goes away in its own time. The same effortless process. They're just coming and going. None of it is of any concern to us. The ocean is not concerned with this wave or that wave. No wave can diminish the ocean or improve it. And even when there's a lot of waves tossing on the surface, a lot of noise outside or a lot of mental noise, the ocean is always resting in its bed. Notice that. The ocean is always resting in its bed. This beingness, this awareness, this I is always resting in itself, no matter what's going on the surface. So nothing for us to do but sit and be that, sit and enjoy that. Anytime you feel you've gotten caught up in something, caught up in some wave, it's one thing to let the waves come and go. They're supposed to come and go. But you got caught up in some thought, some feeling, resisting it, obsessing about it, gripping it in any way. Just relax your grip. Anything you've contracted around, just relax that contraction. Relax outward once again, into this ocean of beingness, this ocean of I awareness. Just relax your grip on whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. Relax back into your boundless self. Now take a few minutes with the eyes still closed. Gently start bringing the body back to a more active state. Maybe roll the head one way and the other, neck rolls. Maybe pull your shoulders up toward your ears and drop them. Stretch your limbs. Whatever the body wants. Maybe rub the palms together, get the blood going, maybe massage your face a little bit or your scalp. The body, because it settles down so naturally and gradually, can be much more settled in meditation than we realize. So we always want to be very gentle and gradual, not shock the body, bringing it back. It's like a diver returning to the surface of the ocean. You don't want to come up too quickly. And when you feel ready, you can slowly open the eyes. Okay, how's everyone doing? Good? Good? Thumbs? Good, good. Ah, so simple. So simple. Stupid simple, as they say. No brains necessary. It's a good thing. Okay, any questions about this meditation or anything else? Yes, Dharmendra, please unmute yourself.
Okay, so I have a simple question here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I just wanted to understand, I mean, how I can make this as a habit in my life. I mean, I know this is good. I mean, will get benefits by doing this meditation and all these kind of, stuff. But I don't do those daily, and I want to make a habit so I don't miss this. And
Right.
I understand that if I do it daily, it is going to be a huge benefit for me, for my mind, and for my daily life. So I just wanted to understand how I can make it as a habit instead of doing it weekly or doing it monthly. I mean, I'm not able to do that continuously, but I know this is good, but I'm not doing it. So I don't know
Right.
why I'm not doing. There is
Yep.
something wrong with me. So I don't know. I mean, so I just wanted to understand how I can prepare
Right.
my mind to do actually take actions instead of just thinking. So that
Right.
If you can give me some tips, that
Yes,
would be awesome.
thank you. That is a great question. One of my teachers years and years ago, one of my teachers said, um, he said, the one catch with this meditation stuff is that you have to do it. He said it's like having the jar of medicine. It's not enough to just read the label, oh, all the fine ingredients in it and all the benefits it's going to give you. You have to unscrew the cap, take out the pill, and swallow it. Right? So you have to do it. So um, the best way is let me ask you this. Um, uh, what is something you do every day? Maybe
Uh, we
maybe
eat we eat
eat.
food
Okay,
daily.
you eat food daily. Probably you brush your teeth daily. Maybe you
Right,
bathe or shower daily. Now, notice that you never a- have to ask, what can I do to make sure that I brush my teeth every day and not just once a week or once a month, right? You do it without thinking about it. And you don't think,
correct.
okay, you don't think, what's going to be a good time for me to brush my teeth today? Am I in the mood to brush my teeth? Do I feel philosophically inclined toward brushing my? We don't go through. We don't even think about it because we've made
Right,
it part of our schedule. You probably get up in the morning and do those things pretty much on a schedule. You maybe you shower, you brush your teeth, you eat breakfast, something like that. Um, so what you do is think of what is a time when you can sit, and we don't want to say for too long because some people, the mistake they make is they say, I'm going to be really serious about this. I'm going to meditate for 45 minutes every day. And then they don't. So much
right.
better to say, okay, I'm going to meditate for about 10 minutes or so. I'm not going to worry about the time. I'm going to even throw the watch away. Don't have the watch in the meditation space. Don't have the clock. About 10 minutes. And then if I happen to run over, that's fine. Okay. So
Yeah.
what I want you to do, Dharmendra, is right now think of what is a time of day when you can always get 10 minutes at the same time of day.
I mean, 10 minutes we can. It's not a huge
E-
amount of
e-
time. I mean, if we
Exactly.
try, we can find out
Y-
10
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah.
anytime in
Okay.
24 hours.
Okay. Right. But I want to be specific. I'm going to right now when you're talking to me, I want to pin you down to a time. When you get could you do it would it work for your daily routine? Let's say you get up in the morning, you bathe, you brush your teeth. Could you sit down then and could you take 10 minutes then? That's not going to make you late to work or something.
Yes,
You could do it then?
I can.
Okay. Do
Yes, absolutely.
that. That's your homework. Do that. So when you
Yeah.
get up in the morning, brush your teeth, take your shower or your bath, and then sit down then for 10 minutes. Or if it winds up being more, it winds up being more. That's it. Okay. Just do
Yeah,
that. Okay.
I do
And
understand. That's a very good point.
yeah. And then do that for a month, and then you won't have to ask me about the second month because you'll be feeling so good you won't want to stop, and because it becomes a habit. Now I want to also address, you actually asked a second question there, kind of in passing, which is, you said, I understand the benefits but I just don't do it. I don't understand why I don't do it. I'm going to explain to you why. Okay. There's three reasons why people don't do it, even knowing the benefits. One is just this: they haven't just set it as a regular, part of the schedule. That's number one. Second reason that people will not meditate regularly is from meditating in a forced, unnatural way. They're trying to meditate, trying to concentrate, trying to clear the mind. They have some idea, some concept of what it says. I'm supposed to be feeling all this bliss. And then they sit, and there's even, and either very strongly or even faintly, there's some effort. And then what that will do is that'll make you feel more tense. That might even give you a headache or something. And then you'll say, and you'll find some excuse. You won't realize that usually in that situation, people don't realize why it's why they didn't why they stopped meditating. Okay, but they'll say, "Oh, I got too busy with my work," or "Oh, wait, I got to send that email right now." Right? So, so in that case, what's important here is, you know, you participate in these Zoom sessions. You can go on my website or on my YouTube channel where there's a lot of other sessions, and just, you know, do it. Maybe even in the morning when you do your 10 minutes. These sessions are usually about 20 minutes. Fine, just do it. Have me there walking you through to just really get you in the habit of effortlessness. Okay. Now,
Sure, sir, sure.
the third reason that people will not do it habitually is the opposite of the second reason. So the second reason was people meditating what I would call incorrectly, right? Unnaturally. The third reason is people meditating correctly, meditating naturally. Now, this one's more subtle. What happens is because, oh, you start settling down into this beautiful, you know, as we said tonight, this ocean of beingness, which is the true self. You thought you were this little wave. You thought you were this little Dharmendra, this ego, right? And I'm not saying egotism. I'm not saying self-importance, just ego, just the sense that you're an individual self, a little, you know, separate entity zipped into a bag of skin, right? And you start melting out of that into the ocean, into really Brahman, you know, as the, you know, the age-old term for what I'm calling tonight ocean of beingness. And when that happens, sometimes there's some little part of us that goes, whoa, wait a minute, I'm losing my boundaries, I'm losing my old sense of self. Is this okay? You know, for however old you are, you know, for 20 whatever years, you know, there's been this I'm Dharmendra, I know what I am, I'm this thing, you know, 5 foot this and this many pounds, and now I'm melting into beingness. Is that okay? Is it, am I, are all my molecules going to fly apart or something? And it's a very subtle thing. So it's just important to know that sometimes that maybe there's that little voice, and if you, and if it's that, just know, oh no, this is okay. Just that simple. This is much more than okay. It's just unfamiliar. It's wow. It's bound. We've been walking around being constricted. It's like wearing a tight shoe all your life, and then suddenly one day we take off the tight shoe, right? And we're so used to wearing the tight shoe that there's two things that happen. One is the feeling of, ah, what a relief. But there can also be the part that goes, wait, is that okay? Because we're so used to having that tight shoe. And so this is where being on the schedule saves us, that we're doing it every morning no matter what. And then we get used to taking off that tight shoe, get used to that feeling of unconstrictedness, that feeling of and we realize, oh no, this is really great. And what's really great is more and more that unconstrictedness, that walking around without the tight shoe more and more carries over into our daily life. And we find more and more we can function. You can function with your family and your work, and you function better when you're not like this, when you're out here like this. Is that
Great.
good?
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question, because I know that's a question that's helpful for a lot of people to hear. Good. What else? Who else tonight? Yeah, Larry, please unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself.
There we
There
go.
you go.
Okay, super. So that was really helpful.
Good.
And I especially like number 3
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I think, this is a guess, but you
Mm-hmm.
can help me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I prevent myself, I think I respond to number 3 by thinking a lot.
Yes, correct. You're right.
And
You do.
how can I, and you know, I try that thing about loosening the grip,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
letting it go a little.
Mm-hmm.
And then it starts to talk about, well, it doesn't feel like I'm loosening the grip. It feels like I'm still gripped. And all the voices,
Yeah.
then the voices come.
Yeah. And you know what that's called? That's called thoughts.
Yes, lots of them.
And the thoughts about, oh, relaxing, the thoughts about, oh, have I let go correctly? Oh, do I have to let go of letting go? Is this working? About all those thoughts are exactly like thoughts about what do I have to put on my grocery list? Who's
Yeah.
going to win the election? Blah, blah. It's all, you just treat it all like it's in a foreign language that you don't speak. Period. Full stop. Amen. Hallelujah. Okay. Again and again and again, you come back to that understanding. It's just blah, blah, blah. But there's nothing wrong with the blah, blah, blah is the waves on the ocean. They're supposed to be there. What you are learning to do is not to get rid of thoughts. We're not learning to flatten out all the waves on the ocean. What we're learning to do is relax into the boundless inherent silence of the ocean itself, which is perpetually resting in its bed, coexistent with the comings and goings of waves on the surface. So the thoughts have to be there in order for that to be accomplished. They're doing what they're supposed to do. But what you do, and you're very right to be connecting with number 3 there. Okay. Um, the in a sense, what we're dealing with here in number 3 is the fear of death. It's the fear of annihilation, which, you know, I wrote a whole book about this. Um, and in that book, Fear Last, somewhere near the beginning, I say, and I really believe this, that most people are, even if they think they never think about death, it's like over in a corner somewhere haunting them. There's that sense of, oh, the meter is ticking, right? The meter is ticking. This life thing, this offer is good for a limited time only. Um, and when that thing happens, I'm going to be annihilated, and that's everything I think of as me is going to be gone, and that's terrifying, right? So when in meditation we start to find what we have been thinking of as me, the sense of being Larry, being this limited entity, being this thing, which how do we reinforce the idea of Larryness? Through thinking.
Yes.
Right? Through thinking and through repeating our story, through reiterating our story. Okay. I've been doing some writing recently about Emily Dickinson, and those of you who were in the Sunday poetry series with us know she wrote this brilliant little 2-stanza poem. It goes, I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell. They'd advertise, you know. Second stanza, how dreary to be somebody. How dreary to be somebody, so have something like a frog, to tell your name the livelong June to an admiring bog. Right? Right? So Most people, almost everyone with the exception of the friends that you meet here on Tuesday nights or Thursday nights, and maybe a very few others, are invested. And it's not because they're bad or stupid. It's just because it's what they know is reiterating that story. I, like the frog, ribbit, 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 I. Why? Because we have to keep telling that, because it's an amazing thing to have manifested in a form, in a self. I just spent 2 weeks with my brand new little grandson. And what a miracle every time it happens. Here's this space. There was nothing. Suddenly there was no one. Suddenly there's someone. And with all this stuff that he can be, and oh, look, now he's starting to respond, and he's smiled his first smile today. That's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. It's an incredible miracle, right? So we spend the first bunch of our life building up a sense of our somebodyness. And then we get a sense of a personality. I'm watching my 5-year-old grandson, he's going to turn 5 next month, he's already talking about, like, he'll engage you in 45-minute conversations about black holes and the Big Bang, and he's assembling giant jigsaw puzzles on the living room rug showing the solar system and all that. And I go, oh, looks like this kid's really into science. Maybe we'll see. So we build up our sense of the somebodyness that we think we are, the personality, the habits, the interests. We're good at this thing, not so good at this thing. That whole structure gets built up. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And then for most people, that's it. Then at a certain point, we get built up, and we get, ask any little kid, how old are you? And they'll say, I'm 4 3/4. Right? There's like, they can't wait to turn 5. Ask any grown-up. No one says, oh, I'm 59, but I'm and 3/4, I'm going to be 60 in 2 months, right? No one says that, right? And actually, and at a certain point, we've been growing up, and then we start growing down. Every time I go for my physical now once a year, those lying bastards say I'm 5'9". I was 5'10" in high school. As far as I'm concerned, that's it. I'm 5'10". Right. So we're
I'm one of those lying bastards, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks a lot. And certain powers, okay, we develop, and it's a big exciting thing in adolescence. Oh my God, sexuality, which is so interesting and thrilling and scary, all at once. And then all of that stuff, and then all this stuff starts to taper off. Whatever your athletic, how your level of athleticism, if any, how many laps you can run, whether you can run, that all starts to go. And so we start feeling, oh, geez, this mortality thing, which I read about this in books, and I saw it in other people, but I didn't think it was for me. Logically, of course, we know it's for us. Logically, of course, we know that we're not going to be the one miraculous exception to the mortality rule, but psychologically, we all think we're the one. Right? Does that ring a bell? Does that ring a bell for other people? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay. So, so at that point, when the mortality realization starts to sink in, and again, by the way, Emily Dickinson has got this thing perfectly portrayed. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. Right. I mean, how brilliant is that? Right? Who's got time to stop for death? right? We're all way too busy. We all have projects. We all have schedules. We've all got stuff we got to do. I can't stop for death. I'm busy with my very special busyness. I must be so exceptionally busy that I'm an exception to the death rule, right? Don't worry. Doesn't matter you don't have time for death. Death has time for you. Death has all the time in the world, right? And there's a little pun on that word stop. I couldn't stop what I was doing, but he stops. He kindly stopped for me, and then and then the next line is the carriage, right? Death is this kindly, gentlemanly carriage driver, and he'll make a special stop for you. He's on your schedule. He may not be on your schedule, but you're on his schedule. He leaves no passenger behind, right? So when we start to realize this, we got a couple of ways to go. Basically, two ways to go. One way is to go, oh, crap. This is it. Right? This wonderful, structure, this self, this healthy, this thriving thing that I've become is now shrinking. It's right. I'm going to be like the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm melting. Right? And then poof, gone. And therefore, when we sit to meditate and we really experience that with some clarity, it can instill fear. Oh no, this is exactly what I was afraid of. Even if we don't think it through on a conscious level, on a much deeper, more, almost like on a neurological level, there's the usual neurological feedback of having boundaries and having sensations, visual take and auditory take that tell me, okay, I'm this body, I'm located here, I'm in this room, this is right. That's all transcended in meditation, right? But the other way that we can go when we start to, get the mortality memo in this life is to realize, oh, this little wave that I so strongly identified with is in fact melting, but rather than feel desperate about it, rather than try to resist it, rather than in some cases engage in all kinds of foolish destructive behavior to deny it, right? I mean, all the classic stereotype stuff, the midlife crisis, I'll go buy a little red sports car and, have, extramarital affairs and, to try to convince myself that I'm still 25 or something. That never goes well. Or we can realize, oh no, what I'm melting into is not the annihilation of myself. It's the discovery of my true self. It's the discovery of a larger self. And some people just kind of do this intuitively. Some people who never meditate, there's some sense of, the classic thing of the mellowness of old age, the idea of older people being wise, having some kind of Yoda, kind of becoming sage-like or something. Intuitively, there's some, a lot of things that were urgently important to us when we were younger. There's this kind of mellowness that hopefully happens as you start getting older. That, yeah, it's fine, Okay, I whatever. Okay, I never got to win the marathon, or I never got to have sex with Bridget Bardot. It's the only one I can think of right now. That was my first great pinup girl, or whoever was that. I can't remember the names. That's it. I can't remember stuff. And there's some intuitive sense of the okayness of that, right? Even with people who've never encountered formal Dharma teachings, never meditated and so forth. So all we're doing with this Dharma stuff, with this meditation stuff, is we're in a much more, in a sharper way. We're in a more complete way, more thoroughgoing way. We're embracing that second way to respond. to mortality, right? We can respond through in basically desperation, right? I remember my old English teacher in high school talking about his father, who had adventures all over the world and been with exotic women and done this, done that, and all that. And he said he died screaming. He died screaming because he felt that somehow he had missed it. Right? So that's, I mean, an extreme, but there's the desperation path, or there's the embracing the melting, because it's realizing we're not melting into annihilation, we're melting into, well, what Emily Dickinson says, because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just we two, and immortality. Right? That's the ocean. That's the true self. That's Brahman. So it's good to talk through this stuff. It's good to come to some clarity of insight about it, and because then that follows us into the meditation and helps us realize, no, it's okay to deeply let go. It's okay that, oh, those thoughts are there, and the strategizing, and the letting go, and the letting go of letting go, and trying, not trying, not trying, not to try, not to just say, that's just, right? Just dismiss it all, and just it's fine to melt, you know, and you know, for people who are well, you know, in my generation, a lot of people had encounters with psychedelic adventures, and in other generations as well. I got some young friends who are enthusiastic about eating magic mushrooms and so forth. And what people, you know, frequently, I would say, if the psychedelics do what they're supposed to do, you know, in the best of circumstances, people experience in a much more accelerated way this sense of melting into boundlessness. And it's a, you know, we saw a lot of this in the 60s of people, you know, initially you had people like Tim Leary and Richard Alpert saying, hey, this stuff is potent. There's a right way to do this. You need guidance, and you need to, you know, they wrote their book, the psychedelic experience, based on the Tibetan Book of the Dead, as the guidebook to, okay, letting go. This is, you know, but then a lot of people thought, oh, this is just something you do in the parking lot at the Grateful Dead concert, and, you know, makes the colors brighter and the music more vivid. And then when they would start losing their boundaries, they would freak out, and you'd have the so-called, you know, bad trips and so forth. And then what happened to a bunch of us was realize we got tired of all the artificial up and down, and we found out that, oh, wait, look what these books are saying. Listen to what these sages have been saying for thousands of years. If you have a little patience, you can go a little more incrementally, and then you don't have to come back. Okay?
Yeah, that was
good.
That was good Vipassana. Thank you.
Good Vipassana. Okay. Whatever it was.
It
Okay.
was good.
Good. Thanks for that question, Larry. What else tonight?
Are we running out of time?
No. We're good. We got all the time in the world. So Dharmendra, ask another one. Oh, wait.
Just want,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
no.
Go ahead. And then I'll get to Richard. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I think Richard can go. I will ask later. That's fine. If he has any
Yeah,
questions.
no, Dharmendra, go ahead. I'm
Okay, fine.
I'm in charge here. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is I mean, I just wanted to know about you a little bit. Like, this is kind of a personal question, I would say, but I just wanted to know, like, what at what point of time in your life you realize that you want to explore this particular area, and you need to find out the way of living a good life, and you want
Mm.
to write books, and you want to learn more about meditation,
Hmm.
Buddha, and all these kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So I'm really, really interested to explore this. I like or I would say, if you can recommend me some books to read, I would do that.
sure.
But I just wanted to, just wanted to understand at what point of time you realize that this is
Hmm.
a field that I need to explore, and you realize that because you spend whole bunch of time in this, and you are a professional in this, so I'm sure you have your thoughts. So
Hmm.
I just wanted to understand those thoughts.
Hmm.
That's it.
Good. Okay. Uh, yeah. In my case, it was not a matter so much of me coming to it as it came to me. Um, it started for me in childhood. I actually had some spontaneous kind of experiences of some sort of aspects of waking up, some glimpses of waking up. It's nothing special about this. It's very common. I think a lot of people have these experiences in childhood. Um, f- uh, f- One thing that used to happen to me on and off during childhood is I would feel like, it's the only way I can describe it, is I felt like I don't have a face. Like everyone else has a face. Like everyone else is like there's a seam. This is the best way I can describe it. I know it sounds funny, but it's as if there's a seam down the middle, and other people, that seam has been zipped closed, and mine is open. That's what it felt. It felt like I'm not closed. I'm just, and it kept, and this sense would come and go, and it was so quiet and natural. I never talked to anyone about it. It never occurred to me to talk to
Okay.
anyone about it. And then, and it always confused me because I felt, why does everyone else treat me like I have a face? Why does everyone talk to me the way they talk to all those other people that have? Of course, if the experience had been deeper, if my insight had been more profound, I would have realized that everyone's like that. Everyone's actually faceless, right? So that was one experience. Uh, I had another. There were a number of things like that. Um,
Fine,
the,
fine.
yeah, and then by the time I was in my last year or two of high school, I started finding the books, which that's like 1965. It was harder to find those books, at least in America, than it is now. But I found a copy of the Bhagavad Gita and the selected Upanishads, translated by Swami Prabhavananda, and the Tao Te Ching, and I started reading those books. And went, oh, okay, this is that this was talking to me. And then I was fortunate to. I was living in California and went up for my freshman year of college to San Francisco State College, and San Francisco was a very good place to be in 1966, 1967. A lot was happening there. There was a lot of the teachers, and also this was the time when the United States loosened up its immigration laws. So for the first time, a lot of the lamas and the rishis started being able to come from the east and teach. So I was in the right place at the right time, and I had the right tendency, I guess. Um,
Right.
so yeah, there's a lot of great books. Uh, uh, I would have to recommend, as a starting book, I have to recommend that you get one of my books. Uh, not be not how to say this. I wouldn't say that because I wrote it, it's the right kind of book to start with, but because
No,
I
no, I do
yeah,
understand.
but because but I just want to be clear, it's the other way around. I said, what people who are starting off in this thing and around this time and with the state that our culture's in, and everything that I've been through and the books that I've digested, the teachers I've been, how can I kind of get the essence of that and make it as clear as possible to people? So that's what I've tried to do in my book. So I would say, I don't know where they are right now, but my book Natural Meditation is a good place to start, or my book Fearless is a good place to start. If you go to my website, you can read sample chapters from all my books and just whatever attracts you. The best thing to read is whatever attracts you. Whatever, when you read it, when I used to find when I was in school that no matter how good a book was, if I was required to read it, it was always a bit of a chore. But if I found it on my own and I got excited, then it was never a chore. So whatever you start reading and you get excited and you don't want to put it down, read that.
Sure, sir. Can I get your book on Amazon or
Yes.
where?
Yeah, all my books are on Amazon. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, if you go to my website, which is, deanslider.com, you'll see sample chapters, and you'll see links to the Amazon page and so forth.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank
Good.
you. Thank you for
Good.
answering, sir.
Oh, you bet. Good. Richard, you have a...
I didn't have a question. I just was complimenting Dharmendra on his first question.
Okay.
It's great because that's like I've had that question for 35 years. But the thing with me, as I've mentioned here before, is that I will meditate until like I feel like I'm cured. It's like I'm fine now.
Right.
I meditated for 3 days and that's it for the next 10 years. So but breaking it into smaller, not holding like 20 minutes for me is a lot of time because I'm ADD or something. But
do
10 minutes is great. And
do 10 minutes.
Yeah, and if I do 10, like I do 10 minutes of Kundalini every day, and it's great because I don't, it's like I'm not committing to an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the stuff you said about taking the pill, like you have to take the pill in order for it to work.
Right.
I disagree. I had some like really severe anxiety issues about 10 years ago, and I got a prescription, a Xanax prescription, and that did the trick. I never filled it, but I had it in my pocket.
Right.
And that did the trick for me.
Right. Yeah. Well, sometimes. Yeah. So there's that. There's that. I was reading once something about, I think it was something about placebo effect.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole business of placebo effect, and how in medical research they always talk about we want to eliminate the placebo effect, right? And I always think, wait a minute, placebo effect, the mind healing the body without having to take, don't eliminate that, give us more of it, right? Figure out a way to harness that. And this one article that I read, I think it was an article about placebo effect, they pointed out all the subtle elements that can go into the healing process, the non-physical elements that we usually don't consider to be part of the process. And they said, for instance, you go into the doctor's office and he's interviewing you, asking you about it, and he's writing a prescription, and you're sitting there and he's wearing a white coat, or she's wearing a white coat, and he or she speaks with a lot of confidence. That's already having an effect on you. You look up on the wall, you see there's the diploma. Oh, Harvard Medical School. Right? That's already putting your body into a deeper state of relaxation and acceptance, and that's a healing state. So yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen examples in other people and examples with myself where just suddenly realizing that this particular physical ailment was and very real physically. Okay, I'll give you a very specific example. And Richard, I'm pretty sure you know about this one. My late first wife, Maggie, for 6 years had debilitating back pain. Okay? And she tried all these kinds of physical treatments, chiropractic and massage and acupuncture, and everything helped a little bit. Nothing helped a lot. And then one night we were channel surfing, and we got to, it was the Larry King show, and Howard Stern had called in. And I said, what? Wait a minute. Howard Stern hates Larry King. If he's calling in, this is something interesting. And it turned out Larry King's guest was Dr. I just blanked out on the name. You know what I'm talking about. Healing back pain.
Mm.
That guy. Sarno. Dr. Sarno. Sarno. Any of you interested? That's the book to get. Healing Back Pain by Dr. John Sarno. Sarno. And what he was saying was, he was an orthopedic surgeon. He made his living doing back surgery. And what he had just realized over years of treating people was that 90-something% of back pain, although it's physically real, it's not all in your head, the origin of it is in your head. So he would say it's not psychosomatic, it's psychogenic. And what he said was essentially, and we got the book. Basically what happened was we got the book, Maggie read the book, and within 2 weeks, this back pain she'd had, excruciating, crippling for 6 years, went away. Period. All she did was read the book and have that insight. And here's the insight. What Sarno explains in the book is that 90-something% of back pain is a way that we distract ourselves from emotions we think we're not supposed to have. So there's something deep in us that thinks it's not okay to be angry, it's not okay to be sad, and so forth. So what we do is, when this thing comes up, your spouse says this thing, or this thing that happens that makes you angry, or makes you sad, or makes you fearful. Instead of saying, oh, I'm angry, oh, I'm afraid, you go, oh, my aching back. Right? That we are smart enough animals, we have enough control over the system that we can tighten up our back. We can actually constrict the flow of blood to those muscles so that they tighten up. So here, basically, I'll save you the cost of the Sarno book right here. The whole essence of the method is just this. And if you have this back pain, and to some degree this works at other parts of the body as well, when you start to get that inkling, when you start to, oh, there's my back, oh, my neck, oh, my... At that moment, instead of getting caught up in that, ask yourself, what emotion am I trying to avoid right now? What's going on emotionally right now that I'm trying to avoid? And you'll realize, oh, right, I'm angry at this. Oh, I'm afraid about that, or so forth. That's all. You don't have to do a bunch of Freudian analysis. Just notice. Oh, and the other things to know, it's okay to have those feelings. We have those feelings because we're human beings, because we're not rocks. We're not avocados. As a human being, we've signed up to have feelings, and it's fine to have those feelings, and let yourself have the feeling. Okay? That was all that happened. 2 weeks, her back pain was gone. And I've known a number of people who've had that experience with the Sarno method. Okay? So yeah, that can happen. Okay? Anything else? Anybody else tonight? We got to do a little singing.
Yeah. So hi.
Oh, Yehudit, yes.
So just because of talking about relaxation, and I really enjoyed you talking about immersing in the ocean and the waves. Instead, this word of letting go, immersing, I don't know, resonate with me much better. Like to allow yourself to be wherever it is.
Yeah.
In that context, I would like to recommend to everybody, and I would love you to watch this film that just came new on Netflix, and then maybe talk about it. It's called My Teacher Octopus. Have you heard
My
about
octopus teacher. We saw about the first 15, 20 minutes of it. It's
it?
incredible.
Okay, so if you watch the whole thing, I really
Yeah.
would like to, because the guy it's a documentary, so the guy did it like every day. I mean, he had many cameras, I guess, but the relaxation part of this, it is so meditative.
Yeah.
And the relationship with the teacher octopus,
Yes.
it is so real, it is so incredible that I
Yeah.
would love to hear back from anybody and from you what it
Oh,
does for our relaxation meditation, because a very meditative film.
right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me, because we watched the first 15 minutes of it while we were up north. It's an incredibly beautiful film. So,
Yes.
sure. Good.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
We'd love
you.
to talk about it.
Okay. So, okay. Let's I'm going to mute you all for the moment. Once again. Okay. Let's do the mantra of healing. Very simple. Hari Om. I think it's very much called for right now. So, and by the way, this actually goes along with our whole discussion about the Sarno method and the interaction between the body and the mind, and bigger than the mind, the spirit, the beingness. Yava and I learned this mantra in India. We were traveling in India with a spiritual / singing teacher, basically a kirtan teacher of ours, named wonderful singer teacher named Gina Salah. And she told us a story about when she went into surgery for breast cancer. And as she was going in for the surgery, they gave her the anesthesia, and as she was going into the anesthesia, she started singing this mantra of healing. And apparently, she kept singing it even as she was under the anesthesia. They told her later. And when she came out of the anesthesia, she was still singing this. And she asked, "How did I do?" And they said, "Well, we opened you up and we couldn't find any cancer, so we closed you again." So we can't necessarily guarantee that kind of result every time, but it's nice to know that those things are possible. So might be particular people that you'd like to think of to include in our singing right now who could need physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing, whatever. Certainly our world can use a lot of healing right now. So it's very simple. The words are Hari Om. Hari Om. So you can just let it wash over you, or you can, as you're letting it wash over you, feel free to sing along. Hari Om. 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 Hari So, may all beings be healed with whatever healing they need, with whatever they need to see their way clear, to see that they are the ocean, always have been. And thus may all beings be boundlessly happy, and may the root of all suffering evaporate like a feverish dream when we wake up on a beautiful, clear morning. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everyone. See you later.
Thank you, Dean.
Take care. Thank you all for your beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your beautiful questions and for your beautiful practice and your beautiful being.
Thank you.
Enjoy being.